The massive screen at Earth's deep space monitoring station, filled with strange patterns of light. Commander James Thompson stood before it, his eyes fixed on the dancing symbols that scrolled across the display. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, forgotten on the desk behind him. "Run it again," he ordered, his voice steady despite the excitement building in his chest. The young operator nodded and reset the sequence. The patterns appeared once more, this time slower. After 20 years of watching the stars, Thompson knew this was different. These weren't the random bursts of cosmic radiation or the usual chatter of known alien civilizations. This was something new. "Sir," called out Lisa, one of the best code breakers in the facility, "you need to see this." Her fingers flew across her keyboard, bringing up another screen filled with translated text. "We've cracked part of their encoding. Well, they're talking about us." Thompson walked over to her station, leaning in to read the decoded message. His eyes widened as he absorbed the content. The aliens were discussing Earth as a target. "Look at these primitives," one message read. "Their technology is barely past fossil fuels. They would make an excellent colony world." Another reply followed. "Easy conquest. No significant defenses detected. Rich in resources." Thompson couldn't help but smile. If only they knew. He pressed his palm against the security scanner by the door, leading to a hidden section of the facility. The walls here were different, not the usual white of the monitoring station, but a dark metal that seemed to absorb light. At the end of the corridor, a heavy door slid open. Inside, rows of screens showed Earth's true defensive capabilities. Massive shipyards hidden in asteroid belts, weapon platforms disguised as space debris, and fleets of ships that no alien civilization had ever detected. Humanity had learned long ago that appearing weak while being strong was the best defense. "Get me Admiral Miller," Thompson said into his comm unit. "Tell her it started." Within minutes, the Admiral's hologram appeared in the center of the room. Her gray hair was tied back in a strict bun, her uniform impeccable as always. "What have you found, Commander?" "They're planning an invasion, Admiral. Multiple species are discussing Earth as a potential colony world." He paused, allowing himself a small grin. "They think we're helpless." Admiral Miller's hologram showed her returning the smile. "Just as we planned." "How many civilizations are involved in these discussions?" "We've identified at least 3 major powers. The Dominion seems to be leading the conversation, with the Trade Coalition and the Star Empire joining in. None of them have any idea we've been intercepting and decoding their transmissions for the past 50 years. "Perfect." The Admiral's expression turned serious. "Initiate Protocol Dawn, Commander. It's time to wake up our sleeping giants." Thompson nodded and turned to his console. With a few commands, hidden signals began broadcasting throughout the solar system. In the depths of Mars' underground bases, massive factories hummed to life. Within the dark craters of the moon, weapon systems began their warm-up sequences. Across the asteroid belt, hidden shipyards started powering up their construction base. Humanity had spent a century preparing for this moment. Every failed alien probe, every crashed scout ship, and every piece of recovered technology had been studied, improved upon, and incorporated into Earth's defenses. While alien civilizations saw a planet still struggling with internal conflicts and primitive technology, they had no idea that these were carefully maintained illusions. "Should we reveal ourselves now?" Thompson asked, watching as more alien communications poured in, all discussing Earth's apparent vulnerability. Admiral Miller shook her head. "Not yet. Let them come a little closer. Let them commit to their plans." Her hologram flickered as she checked something off-screen. "When they finally realize the truth, it will be too late for them to back out gracefully. And then, Commander Thompson, we'll show them exactly why humanity has survived every extinction event thrown at us." The commander turned back to the screens, watching as more alien civilizations joined the discussion about Earth's colonization. Like predators circling what they thought was weak prey, they had no idea they were walking into a trap centuries in the making. Earth wasn't just ready, it was waiting. And soon, the galaxy would learn why underestimating humanity was the last mistake anyone should make. Admiral Kate Miller walked through the hidden shipyards of Mars Base Alpha, her footsteps echoing in the massive underground chamber. Above her, a fleet of warships hung in their construction cradles, their dark hulls gleaming under the bright industrial lights. Each vessel was a perfect blend of human innovation and reverse-engineered alien technology. Status report. She called out to her chief engineer, Tom Walker, who was checking readings on a tablet. "The new shields are working better than expected, Admiral," he replied, his face lighting up with pride. "We've managed to combine the energy deflection technology from that crashed Dominion ship with our own phase-shifting systems. These ships can now turn practically invisible to any known alien scanning technology." Miller nodded, remembering the day 50 years ago, when that Dominion scout ship had crashed in the Australian outback. The aliens had thought they'd recovered everything, never realizing that humanity had already salvaged the most important parts during the first 24 hours. "Show me the weapons systems," she ordered, following Tom to another section of the massive facility. They stopped at a testing chamber where technicians were working on a large cannon. The weapon looked simple on the outside, but Miller knew it contained technology that most alien civilizations thought was impossible to create. "Watch this," Tom said, pressing a few buttons on his control panel. In the testing chamber, the cannon powered up with a low hum. A target made of the strongest alien armor they'd ever encountered sat at the other end. The cannon fired, making almost no sound. The beam that shot out wasn't bright or flashy. It was almost invisible. When it hit the target, there was no explosion. Instead, the alien armor simply ceased to exist, leaving behind nothing but empty space. "Reality deletion technology," Miller said with satisfaction. "The aliens think it's theoretical. They don't know we perfected it 20 years ago." She walked over to a window overlooking another chamber, this one filled with smaller ships. These were the results of studying hundreds of alien probe wrecks that humanity had secretly collected over the centuries. Each one had taught them something new, and humans had improved upon every discovery. "How many ships do we have ready?" she asked, checking her own datapad. 500 in Mars Base Alpha, 300 in Luna Deep, and another 400 spread across the asteroid belt bases, Tom reported. "All fully crewed and combat ready. Plus, we have the automated defense platforms. 2,000 of those scattered throughout the solar system, disguised as debris." Miller's comm unit buzzed. It was a message from Commander Thompson at the monitoring station. More alien civilizations were joining the discussion about invading Earth. They were starting to make actual plans. "Begin powering up the Jupiter station," she ordered. "But keep it running dark. We don't want them detecting any energy signatures yet." Jupiter Station was humanity's greatest achievement, a massive facility hidden within the gas giant storms, capable of producing enough energy to power all of Earth's defenses for a century. The aliens thought Jupiter was just another gas giant. They had no idea it housed a weapon that could reshape reality itself. "Ma'am," one of her officers called out, "we're picking up movement. 3 alien scout ships just entered the Kuiper Belt." Miller smiled. This was what they had been waiting for. "Track them, but don't react. Let them think they're being sneaky." She turned to her crew. "Remember, everyone, we've spent 100 years preparing for this moment. Every alien invasion attempt, every probe, every piece of their technology that fell to Earth. We learned from all of it." She walked to the command center's main window, looking out at the fleet of ships that represented humanity's true power. These weren't crude copies of alien technology. They were something new, something better. Human creativity had taken alien concepts and transformed them into weapons that their original creators couldn't even imagine. "They think we're primitive," she said to her crew. "They see our public space program and laugh at our chemical rockets. They watch our satellites and think we're still figuring out basic orbital mechanics. She turned to face her people, her expression firm with determination. Let them keep thinking that, because when they finally make their move, they're going to learn that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology. It's our ability to improve upon everything we find. High above, hidden in plain sight throughout the solar system, humanity's real space fleet waited silently. They were ready. They had always been ready. The 3 alien scout ships moved slowly through the outer edges of the solar system, their crews confident in their advanced stealth technology. They had no idea that every movement was being tracked by dozens of hidden human sensors. In the command center of Luna Deep, Admiral Miller and Commander Thompson watched a holographic display showing the aliens' approach. Around them, crew members worked silently at their stations, monitoring every aspect of the operation. "They're following exactly the path we predicted," Thompson said, pointing to the alien ship's trajectory. "They think they're being clever by using Jupiter's magnetic field to mask their approach." Miller nodded. "Time to show them their first surprise. Activate Defense Platform 7. Hidden among the debris of the asteroid belt, a piece of what looked like space rock suddenly came to life. Its surface rippled as advanced camouflage systems deactivated, revealing sleek human technology underneath. "Platform 7, ready, Admiral," reported the weapons officer. "Electromagnetic pulse charged and targeted. Fire when ready," Miller ordered. "Remember, disable only. We want them scared, not destroyed." The defense platform hummed to life. There was no bright beam, no visible weapon discharge. Instead, a wave of invisible energy spread out across space, precisely targeted at the alien vessels. Aboard the lead alien ship, Captain Rix of the Dominion Scout Fleet was reviewing sensor data when suddenly every system on his ship went dark. Emergency lights flickered on, but nothing else responded. His crew started shouting in panic. "What happened?" he demanded. "Get everything back online." "Sir," his engineer called out, fear in his voice. "Nothing's working. The power core is intact, but something's preventing any energy from flowing through our systems. This shouldn't be possible." Through their observation systems, the humans watched as all 3 alien ships drifted helplessly in space. Their crews were safe. The life support systems had been left untouched by careful design. But they had no power, no weapons, and no way to call for help. "Launch recovery vessels," Miller commanded. "Let's bring our guests somewhere more comfortable." 3 ships emerged from hiding spots near Mars, their hulls dark and angular in a way that no known alien civilization built their vessels. They approached the disabled scout ships with precise movements, extending docking tubes to create secure passages. The aliens watched in horror through their viewports as strange ships they'd never seen before locked onto their vessels. They had no choice but to wait as their ships were carefully towed toward Mars. In a hidden facility beneath the red planet's surface, Miller and Thompson prepared to meet their visitors. They stood in a large, well-lit room designed to look deliberately impressive, with displays showing Earth's full military capability running along the walls. "Remember," Miller said to the security teams, "we want them uncomfortable but not terrified. This is a warning, not a threat." The aliens were escorted in, their expressions a mix of fear and confusion. Captain Rix led his crew, trying to maintain dignity despite the situation. "Welcome to Mars Base Alpha," Miller said in perfect Dominion language, watching their shocked expressions with satisfaction. "We've been looking forward to this meeting." "How?" Rick started, then swallowed hard. "How do you know our language? How do you have this technology? Our sensors showed your species was barely achieving spaceflight." Thompson stepped forward, holding up a small device. "Would you recognize this?" he asked, showing them a broken piece of technology. "It's from one of your probe ships that crashed on Earth 300 years ago. We learned a lot from it, just like we learned from every other piece of alien technology that's fallen to Earth over the centuries." The aliens stared at the device, then at the displays showing Earth's true capabilities. Their confidence crumbled as they realized the terrible mistake their civilizations had made. "This is a courtesy call," Miller explained, her voice firm but not unkind. "A warning, if you will. We've been watching, learning, and preparing. The primitive civilization you see on Earth's surface, that's what we want you to see. The reality," she gestured to the massive facility around them, "is quite different." As the aliens took in the truth about humanity's power, alert signals were already racing across space toward their homeworlds. But Earth was ready for whatever came next. The warning shot had been fired. Now it was time to see how the galaxy would respond. Colonel Robert West stood in the grand meeting hall of Mars Base Alpha, watching as holographic representatives from 17 alien civilizations flickered into existence around the circular table. The captured scout ship crews sat to one side, their presence serving as proof that humanity's capabilities were very real. "Welcome to the first official diplomatic contact between Earth and the galactic community," West began, his voice calm and measured. "Though unofficial contact has been ongoing for quite some time, from our side, at least." The alien representatives buzzed with mixed reactions. Some showed anger, others fear, and a few displayed what West had learned to recognize as calculating interest. "Impossible," declared the Dominion's High Commander, his hologram pulsing with agitation. "Your species was under constant surveillance. We saw no signs of advanced technology." West smiled and pressed a button on the table. The room's walls became transparent, revealing the massive underground city that sprawled beneath Mars's surface. Warships hung in their docks, defensive installations hummed with power, and thousands of humans went about their work. "What you saw," West explained, "was exactly what we wanted you to see. Those primitive satellites, decoys, the chemical rockets, a cover story, the internal conflicts, carefully managed theater." He gestured to a large screen where images began to play. They showed various alien ships and probes that had crashed on Earth over the centuries, followed by footage of humans recovering and studying them. "Every time you thought you were secretly observing us, we were actually learning from you. Every piece of technology you lost became a textbook for our scientists. Every transmission you thought was secure became a lesson in your languages and culture." The Trade Coalition's representative leaned forward, their crystalline form shimmering with interest. "Why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue hiding?" West walked around the table, making eye contact with each representative. "Because we've grown tired of watching various civilizations plan to invade our home. Yes, we've been monitoring your communications. Yes, we know about the planned colonization fleet. And yes, we could stop it easily." He paused near Captain Ricks, who had witnessed humanity's power firsthand. "But we prefer to avoid unnecessary conflict. This meeting is our way of extending a hand in friendship, while making our position clear." A series of holograms appeared above the table, showing Earth's true defensive capabilities. Planet-wide shield systems, reality-bending weapons, and fleets of ships that combined the best of human innovation with improved alien technology. "We're not interested in conquest or domination," West continued. "Earth wants peaceful trade, cultural exchange, and mutual respect. But," he let his voice grow firmer, "we will not tolerate any threats to our sovereignty or safety." The Star Empire's delegate, known for their usually aggressive stance, spoke up. "You claim to have all this power, yet you sue for peace. Why not simply demand our submission?" West's expression softened. "Because that's not who we are. Humanity has learned many things from watching the galaxy, including what not to do. We don't want to rule through fear. We want to trade, learn, and grow together." He brought up another display, this one showing potential trade routes and diplomatic frameworks. "We're prepared to share some of our innovations, particularly our improvements on your existing technologies. In return, we ask for formal recognition of Earth's independence and territorial rights." The room fell silent as the alien representatives processed this offer. They were beginning to understand that humanity wasn't just powerful, it was reasonable. And that perhaps made it even more formidable. Consider this meeting a new beginning, West concluded. You've seen our strength. Now let us show you our wisdom. The choice is yours, friendship or conflict. But remember, he gestured to the captured scout ships visible through the window. We're more than capable of handling either option. As the alien representatives began their discussions, West caught Admiral Miller's eye across the room. She nodded slightly. Everything was going according to plan. Humanity had spent centuries preparing not just for war, but for peace. Now it was time to see which path the galaxy would choose. Dr. Anna Peters walked through the quantum lock doors of Earth's most secret facility, deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. Her footsteps echoed in the vast underground chamber as she led a small group of alien diplomats who had been cleared for this special tour. After the diplomatic meeting on Mars, showing them this facility was the next step in proving humanity's capabilities. What you're about to see, she said, stopping at a massive window overlooking an experimental chamber, is something your civilizations believe to be impossible. In the chamber below, scientists worked around a device that looked deceptively simple, a sphere of swirling energy contained within a geometric frame. The aliens pressed closer to the glass, their expressions showing a mix of disbelief and awe. This is a reality anchor, Peters explained, checking the readings on her tablet. It doesn't just bend space-time like your ships do. It can rewrite the laws of physics within a controlled area. She pressed a button, and the sphere pulsed. In the testing area beside it, gravity reversed itself, then sideways, then stopped existing altogether. The aliens watched in stunned silence. We discovered the basic principles from studying the wreckage of a Star Empire ship that crashed in Russia 200 years ago. Peters continued. Your scientists had dismissed the technology as theoretical. We made it work. Moving through the facility, they passed rows of other devices that defied conventional understanding. Each one represented decades of human innovation combined with recovered alien technology. Here's something interesting, Peters said, stopping at another testing chamber. Inside, a small drone hovered, completely invisible to all sensors. We reverse-engineered this from the Dominion's stealth technology. But we noticed something your engineers missed, a way to bend light and energy not just around an object, but through quantum space. One of the alien diplomats, a leading scientist from the Trade Coalition, spoke up. That's not possible. The energy requirements alone would be impossible using standard power sources. Peters interrupted with a smile. That's why we created these. She led them to a sealed room where rows of small crystals glowed with inner light. We call them quantum cores. They draw energy from parallel dimensions. The alien scientists stumbled back, their crystalline form vibrating with shock. But that would mean that we solved the unified field theory. Yes, about 50 years ago. Peters picked up one of the crystals, letting it pulse in her hand. This single crystal could power your entire homeworld for a year. Moving deeper into the facility, they reached the central chamber. Here, holograms showed Earth's complete defensive network, a web of satellites, hidden bases, and automated systems that encompassed not just Earth, but the entire solar system. Every time an alien ship entered our solar system, thinking they were being stealthy, we learned from them, Peters explained. Every probe you sent taught us something new. Instead of just copying your technology, we asked ourselves how it could be better. She brought up a display showing the evolution of human defense systems. See these early warning satellites. They use a combination of your quantum scanning technology and our own innovations in dark matter detection. Nothing can enter our solar system without us knowing about it. The aliens watched as she demonstrated system after system, each more impressive than the last. Weapons that could disable ships without harming crews. Shields that could protect entire planets. Communications networks that operated outside normal spacetime. But our greatest achievement, Peters said, leading them to the final chamber, is this. The room opened up to reveal a massive sphere of swirling energy, much larger than the first one they'd seen. The Guardian Network. It connects every defensive system in our solar system into a single conscious entity. It thinks, learns, and adapts in real time. The alien diplomats stared at the pulsing sphere, finally understanding the true extent of humanity's advancement. They had come expecting to find clever copies of their own technology. Instead, they found innovations that went far beyond anything their civilizations had achieved. "Remember," Peters said softly, "what you're seeing here is just what we're willing to show you. Earth has many more secrets, many more surprises. We hope we never have to use them." As she led the stunned diplomats back to their transport, Peters smiled to herself. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't just ready for the galaxy. They were already far ahead of it. The Dominion's war fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, 5,000 ships strong. Their massive vessels blocked out the distant stars, weapons primed and shields at full power. In the fleet's center, the Dominion's flagship, Star Crusher, dwarfed all other ships around it. In the command center of Luna Deep, Admiral Miller watched the holographic display with calm eyes. Beside her, Commander Thompson and Dr. Peters monitored the incoming data. "They actually did it," Thompson said, shaking his head. "Even after everything we showed them, they still think we're bluffing." Miller smiled. "Then let's educate them. Activate the Guardian Network." Throughout the solar system, hidden defense platforms awakened. The quantum AI that controlled Earth's defensive grid came fully online, its consciousness spreading across space through hidden relays. The Dominion fleet moved forward confidently, their ships arranged in attack formation. On their bridge, High Commander Vex stood proudly. "See how they do nothing," he announced to his bridge crew. Their supposed power was nothing but tricks and illusions. "Today, we show the galaxy that." His words cut off as every ship in his fleet suddenly stopped moving. They hung in space, frozen in place by invisible forces. "What's happening?" Vex demanded. "Status report." "Sir," his science officer called out, panic in his voice, "something's affecting the gravity around our ships. We can't move." In Luna Deep, Miller nodded to Dr. Peters. "Show them Phase 1. Peters typed a command into her console. Around the Dominion fleet, space itself seemed to ripple. 1,000 defense platforms decloaked, their quantum cores pulsing with power. Before the aliens could react, beams of energy shot out, connecting each platform to create a vast web of light. "Their weapons are charging," Thompson reported, watching the alien ships. "Let them fire," Miller said calmly. "It's time they learned about our shields." The Dominion fleet unleashed everything they had. Plasma bolts, energy beams, and projectiles raced toward Earth. But when they hit the web of energy created by the defense platforms, something strange happened. The attacks didn't explode or dissipate. They simply ceased to exist. "Impossible," Vex shouted, watching his fleet's most powerful weapons vanish into nothing. "What kind of technology is this?" The answer came in the form of a transmission from Luna Deep. Admiral Miller's hologram appeared on every ship in the Dominion fleet. "Your weapons aren't being blocked or absorbed," she explained. "They're being erased from reality. Would you like to see what our weapons can do in return?" Without waiting for a response, she gave the signal. The defense platforms pulsed again, and sudden changes swept through the Dominion fleet. On some ships, gravity reversed. On others, time began moving slower. A few ships found themselves phase-shifted slightly out of normal space, their crews watching helplessly as their solid metal ships became ghostly and transparent. "This is your final warning," Miller announced to the fleet. "As you can see, we could destroy every ship you have without firing a single traditional weapon. But we prefer not to harm anyone." In a desperate move, Vex ordered his flagship to fire its main weapon, a planet-killing beam that could shatter worlds. The massive beam lanced out toward Earth. Miller nodded to Dr. Peters again. "Show them the mirror shield." High above Earth, The atmosphere itself seemed to crystallize for a moment. The Dominion's weapon hit this invisible barrier and reflected back, its energy perfectly reversed. The beam struck an empty area of space near the alien fleet, creating a spectacular light show, but harming nothing. That was a warning shot. Miller's voice came again. The next one won't miss your ships. You have 30 seconds to power down your weapons and prepare for boarding, or we'll be forced to demonstrate our full capabilities. Vex looked at his fleet, trapped and helpless against technology he couldn't even understand. His mighty ships, the pride of the Dominion, hung powerless in space, while human vessels began emerging from hidden docks all across the solar system. "Stand down," he ordered finally, his voice heavy with defeat. "Stand down, all weapons." As human ships moved in to secure the Dominion fleet, Miller turned to her crew. "Send word to Earth. Tell them the test is complete. Our defenses worked exactly as planned." 1 month after the Dominion's failed attack, Admiral Miller stood at the window of her new office in the Orbital Diplomatic Center, watching Earth shine below. The space station, recently unveiled, served as humanity's official meeting point with alien civilizations. Behind her, Commander Thompson reviewed reports on a holographic display. 17 more diplomatic requests today, Thompson said, scrolling through the list. Even the Spiral Collective wants to talk, and they haven't left their home system in 1,000 years. Miller turned from the window, a slight smile on her face. Amazing how quickly attitudes change when you demonstrate you can turn off gravity in 1,000 ships at once. The door chimed, and Dr. Peters entered with Colonel West. They had just returned from a technology exchange conference with some of Earth's new allies. "You won't believe what the Trade Coalition offered," West said, setting down his tablet. "They want to trade their entire database of faster-than-light technology for just one of our quantum cores." "And that's not all," Peters added, bringing up a hologram of new ship designs. 3 different civilizations have already adapted some of our improvements to their own technology. They're calling it the Human Innovation Approach, taking existing technology and finding ways to make it do things nobody thought possible. Miller sat at her desk, looking at the various reports. Earth had changed more in the past month than in the previous century. The pretense of being a primitive civilization had been dropped, revealing humanity's true face to the galaxy. Ships now openly traveled between Earth's various bases and facilities, and the massive underground cities on Mars and the Moon had been opened to diplomatic visitors. "What's the status of the Dominion fleet?" Miller asked. "Still under guard in Jupiter orbit," Thompson replied. "Their crews are being treated well, and most have actually requested to stay and learn from us. Their High Commander sent a formal apology this morning, along with a peace treaty for review." Through the window, they could see several alien ships docking at the station. Not warships this time, but diplomatic vessels and trade ships. Each had been carefully scanned and approved before approaching Earth. Humanity's new openness didn't mean they had lowered their guard. "The Guardian Network picked up something interesting," Peters said, pulling up another display. "Remember how we thought we were the only ones hiding our true capabilities? Look at this." The display showed data about a previously unknown civilization near the galactic core. They had been watching the recent events with great interest and had finally reached out to Earth directly. "They say they've been doing the same thing we have," West explained, "pretending to be less advanced, watching and learning. They're impressed with how we handled everything and want to establish diplomatic relations." Miller laughed softly. "Maybe we're not so unique after all. Set up a meeting with them, and make sure everyone knows our policy hasn't changed. We're still improving our defenses, still developing new technologies." Speaking of which, Peters brought up another hologram, this one showing a new type of shield system. "The latest tests of the phase shift technology have exceeded expectations. We can now protect an entire star system with just 3 generator stations." Thompson shook his head in amazement. "Remember when we were worried about them finding out about us? Now they're all trying to learn from us instead." Because we showed them something they'd never seen before, Miller said, standing to look out at Earth again. Not just advanced technology, but a different way of thinking about it. Humanity's greatest strength was never our weapons or our shields. It was our creativity, Peters finished. Our ability to look at something and see what it could become instead of just what it is. Outside the window, more ships arrived at the station. Trade vessels, diplomatic shuttles, and even a few private craft cleared for travel to Earth. The galaxy was changing, adapting to humanity's emergence as a major power. Send a message to all our facilities, Miller ordered. Tell them to continue with the development schedule as planned. We showed them some of our capabilities, but not all of them. She smiled at her team. After all, it's always good to keep a few surprises in reserve. As the sun rose over Earth's horizon, casting golden light across the station, humanity's position in the galaxy had never been stronger. They had emerged not as conquerors or victims, but as innovators and teachers, respected, and yes, just a little bit feared, just the way they had planned it all along.